Brand new It's in the Game podcast here on the Ball is Life Podcast Network, which you can find on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can find the full video version on the Cruise Control Podcast Network on YouTube. You're joined by Randy Cruz. You can follow me on Twitter at Randy J. Cruz, R-A-N-D-Y, the letter J-C-R-U-Z. And as always, been joined by my guy, Denny Blanco. I am Denny Blanco on both Twitter and Instagram. Denny, my man, how you doing?
We here, we live. That was some interesting basketball we've seen the past couple of hours.
Oh, last night.
Woo! Woo!
Interesting basketball. Interesting refereeing. So the story behind the show that me and you were not going to do this. I'm on vacation. You're back in New York, and when I told you we're not doing it, like 5 minutes after. They put out that the Brooklyn Nets have hired Steve Nash as their new head coach. I think a four-year deal. And you're wearing the hat today because you are a Brooklyn Nets fan since I don't know when.
Since Kyrie got there.
Since Kyrie got there and Durant. So you've been a Net fan for almost a year. Props to you. But yeah, man, very interesting. Like I've been a fan of Steve Nash for his entire career. Hall of Famer, one of the greatest point guards ever in NBA history. Met the guy, cool guy off the court. Very interesting because I thought Greg Pop was in that mix to become the next head coach of Brooklyn or to be as a candidate because the rumor is that his house is up for sale in San Antonio. So I thought the legwork was in motion that Greg Pop will meet with Brooklyn. But right now we're standing here with Steve Nash as the new head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. So I know it's brand news, but what do you make of the hiring of Brooklyn to hire Steve Nash?
Steve Nash was a great player. Basketball IQ off the chain, two-time NBA MVP. He stole MVP from Shaquille O'Neal. That should go through. That should tell you how bad this dude was. Okay, so. Having stated that, and he's a great basketball player, I don't know if he's a great head coach. Now we talked about it earlier, and I said, look, how many basketball players have immediately turned into head coaches without any experience? Probably three, right? Jason Kidd, Derek Fisher, and now Steve Nash.
And Jeff Hornacek too, right?
Jeff Hornacek, yeah. So Jeff Hornacek's probably the only one with a decent record. Your Jason Kidd didn't have a decent record in Milwaukee till he got to the Nets, and we know what the hell happened with Derek Fisher. So
no, J Kidd started in Brooklyn, then he went to Milwaukee. So
he started in Brooklyn, then went to his record was good, obviously, because that's when he had Garnett,
Paul Pierce,
Joe
Johnson, D. Will,
Lopez. So he had a good 2-year run, and then he went to Milwaukee and started taking L's, and then in Milwaukee. I mean, he had Giannis, he had Brandon Jennings at the time, and Brandon was balling, but do you put that on Jason or do you put that on Brandon? So I give Steve Nash 2 years, and then he'll be gone because it's a 4-year deal. I give him 2 years and then he'll be gone because you as a head coach have to have a certain temperament, have to have a certain kind of respect for the players. So the question is, will Kyrie and Kevin Durant, your main cogs in the New Jersey Nets championship run, will they actually listen to this guy? And will they respect him enough to listen to his constructive criticism? That is key.
But what makes you feel like they won't? I mean, if we're playing a hypothetical game, what makes you feel like two superstars like Kyrie and Durant would just have Steve Nash come on board and then make trouble for him? I don't think. Obviously, people are going to say Kyrie, but I think with the way Nash helped the Warriors as a consulting coach with them, and seeing how he worked with Curry, and him and Durant are tight too. So let's not forget about that. So I don't think Durant will make the job a living hell for Nash, but with that kind of offense, with Kyrie leading it, and if you have these two superstar, these two bona fide Hall of Famers with the LeVerts and the Jared Allens and the Joe Harris. It's like you give Steve Nash 2 years. Within that 2 years, he might win one title already. So, and I know some are going to compare I mean, obviously Steve Kerr was a coach who never coached high school or college or NBA before he got the job. But some are saying that he got into a spot where Curry and Thompson and Draymond were already developed, and he just ran with it after Mark Jackson coached them. So,
It's a little thing. Sorry to interrupt. Also, it's a little different too with Steve Nash because number one, Steve Nash was an executive in Phoenix, so not so much as a head coach, but actually seeing how the business works from behind the scenes and seeing how pieces are moved.
you mean
So
Kerr? You mean Kerr?
Kerr, what did
Yeah,
I say? I'm sorry.
you
What did
said
I say?
Nash. You said Nash.
Kerr, excuse me. One of those white boys. One of the white boys. Kerr got the blonde hair. So yeah, Kerr was in Phoenix. So he's a GM. He was a GM for a period of time. So he saw how the the inner movings of the behind the scenes worked, how the coaching, etc. And if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that fired D'Antoni.
Yeah.
He asked
Yeah.
D'Antoni to get a defensive coach. D'Antoni said, "Kick rocks," and
Mm-hmm.
Steve said, "Toodles." So it's a little bit different with Steve, but not and Steve, if I'm not mistaken, well, Steve's not the GM. He's just a strictly head coach at Golden State. But when it comes to Steve Nash, he's going to have a GM obviously pulling the strings for him, Sean Marks, a former player as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Marks has been doing a I think he's been doing a good job with the Nets.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think he's doing a tremendous job stacking quality picks, making the right moves. Obviously, when it's available, when it comes to Kyrie, when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to Kevin Durant, so it's going to be interesting. But just jumping over people that have been like, I mean, hey, you have Sam Cassell, who's been assistant coach for a period of time.
Yeah.
You have who was this guy they were just speaking about who's a college coach now because he couldn't get any head coaching offers in the he was called also he was one of the Michael Jordan clones they called him Jerry Stackhouse.
Okay.
Jerry Stackhouse, I think he's coaching a college team, but he was coaching in the G League and no offer. So it's just very interesting who gets offers and who doesn't when they're offering head coaching positions.
I don't know, man. I think it's I'm happy for Nash. Um, some would say that Jack Vaughn did a hell of a job to keep that job. I know they got rid of Atkinson, and Jack Vaughn was the assistant, and they made the playoffs, and they had pretty much nobody on that roster
Nobody,
healthy
nobody.
to give him a full chance. And Nash comes on board, and now Jack Vaughn will remain as the assistant coach on the staff.
Oh, okay.
So, and then again, the Nash and the Durant stuff goes back to Golden State. So, did Durant have a say and say, hey, listen, man, if we're going to get a new head coach, Steve Nash got to be a high priority. We got to get him. Because, again, I was hearing Greg Pop was, in that limelight of trying to be the coach as a rumor.
I
So,
never believed that rumor. Do you know why?
why?
Because Kevin Durant and Kyrie are sensitive. And when I
Well,
mean by sensitive, I mean by look at the temperament of coaches they've been under. Just think
mm-hmm.
about the temperament of coaches. So let's start with Kyrie. So who do you have? Mike Brown.
Yeah, Tyronn Lue.
Then he went from Mike Brown to Black to
Black
Tyronn Lue.
to
Tyronn Lue.
Brad, and then Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens. So okay. So technically in that line,
Mm-hmm.
Tyronn Lue is probably the only one who's going to call you out on your nonsense, if you will, out of all those coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you look at Kevin Durant, coaches he played under. Scott Brooks,
Billy Donovan,
Billy Donovan,
Kerr.
and Kerr. So Kerr's the only one and you saw what happened with Kerr. He won 2 chips. So when it comes to demanding, yelling, we were talking about Popovich not being part of. No, Popovich is not going to. Popovich, if Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving miss a screen or miss a defensive assignment, they're not going to sit back and allow Popovich to yell at them on national television? No.
So
It's insensitive.
you're saying that Kyrie and Durant are more in favor of a coach who just let
Steve
them play.
Nash, Steve Kerr, perfect. See,
Yeah,
he's
let
a
them play.
former player. Let them play. I'm not going to get on them about and everything that's done is done behind closed doors. But that's the environment that's being established. Greg Popovich, it's my way or the highway. I have no problem, Greg Popovich. I have no problem trading Steven Jackson, knowing for a fact he's better than Manu. Why? Because Steven Jackson is not doing it the way I want to do it. Not that Steven Jackson's not good. He's not doing it the way I want to do it. So he got to go. So this is the type of thing. These are the type of things that were in my head when I heard of the rumor of Popovich. I was like, he's not going to the Nets, please. There'd be a waste.
I mean, or the fact that Greg Pop wasn't going to leave San Antonio, and Brooklyn felt that, they knew that, and it's all right, Greg Pop, if you're not leaving San Antonio, who else is out there that we can get? They're not getting Brett Brown from Philly. They're not getting. I mean, again, they probably want to go a different route, and that's what Brooklyn does. And we've seen many head coaches come on board with no high school, college, or NBA coaching experience, and they get the job and become champions and become playoff contenders. I'm trying to find the positive of hiring Steve Nash. I think it's dope, man. I think they need that kind of offense where it's up and down. I think the background of Nash and KD is going to work from Golden State. Going to help Kyrie become a better point guard. He's already an all-time great, but to become even better under the lineage of Steve Nash and what he's bringing from Golden State and that championship lineage is going to help. And plus, you have all these other young pieces around Kyrie and Durant that's going to flourish under Nash. Again, I'm giving Nash the benefit of the doubt. He's one of the greatest point guards of all time. So, when you get a coaching job, it's different than being a player or being a GM. You're down on the court every 82 games, and you got to deal with the egos and then this and then that. And I don't think KD or Kyrie would make it trouble for Nash. But now people are gonna say, all right, you get KD and Kyrie healthy, that window is like that expectation now that all right, you guys got to be at least in the conference finals next year, and you guys got to be in the finals the following year. So now the timeline has moved up. Whether it was Nash or Greg Pop, the timeline was going to be there. So I'm happy for him. It's dope. My thing is it's someone brand new. You're not recycling a coach who's been around for so many years. It's somebody brand new. Give him a shot. So bottom line is I'm happy for Nash. And check this out. For a Nick net rivalry kind of thing, Nash is the godfather to RJ Barrett. Look at
that. Listen, it's not a rivalry, bro. It's not a rivalry. I wish Steve Nash the best. Great human. I wish him the best. Mm-hmm. The Nets are stepping out and doing something radical. Right. I appreciate that. Not like the guys at Madison Square Garden who continue to do things prehistorically, if you will, and not step outside said box. A player's coach usually helps when you have all-star players. That's why they brought in Jason Kidd for the Kevin Garnett, the Paul Pierce, etc. They brought Jason Kidd in for that reason. So, in 4 years, do I see Kyrie Irving being a better passer because of Steve Nash? Probably not.
I think so.
I mean, usually when I look at players, I'm like, all right, Kyrie's been in the league for what, a decade now? Has it been a decade?
Gonna be almost close. It's close.
Now, 1 year did I say, yeah, I could see him being a better passer. He's a scoring guard. It is what it is. Like he doesn't have the passing gene in him. Could he develop it? Maybe, but do I see him averaging six assists a game? Probably not. Do I see Kevin Garnett averaging more points? Yes, because I think Steve Nash understands some of the, some offensive. I think Steve Nash is offensive guru. Obviously, playing under D'Antoni, he learned some things, and I think he can put Kevin Garnett in better positions to score without having to work so hard. So I do see Kevin Garnett scoring and Kyrie scoring.
Durant.
Kevin, what did I say? Kevin
Garnett.
One of those Kevins. KD, baby.
Oh,
I'm seeing KD. Yeah, KD's scoring going to go up. But I don't know if Kyrie's gonna increase in passing. So it's going to be interesting to see.
So my question is this: Does or can Steve Nash develop Brooklyn into that high octane offense, kind of like a Phoenix Suns in the mid 2000s, where it's get the ball to your point guard, run up the floor. You got shooters on the wing. You got Joe Harris. You got LeVert. You got Durant. You got Dinwiddie. Can Steve Nash somehow turn the Brooklyn Nets into what the Phoenix Suns were in the mid 2000s?
Sure, he can. Just tell him not to play no defense.
I mean, Brooklyn could play better defense than that Phoenix squad.
True, but it looks like 100%. What we have here is, and you saw it in last night's playoff games, if you watched them, whether it was just the past week, whether it was Denver, Utah, or whether it was Houston, OKC, you will find at least four times in a game where players will have a layup and then kick it out for a three.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we are. So you add that type of mentality to the guard play. It's better guard play now. Yes, I believe that Brooklyn Nets should be in the top 10 in scoring. It should be in the top 10 in scoring based on Steve Nash addition and him, helping out the offense. But even then, I don't even like that. I don't like the philosophy of that. You take the points. You take the points.
Mm-hmm.
You take, because I'm not going to take this two. I'm a hope for three. That's what was going on with that Houston OKC game. That's the only reason why I was kind of close without Steven Adams actually playing like a 7-footer. You got guys literally just shooting nothing but threes, no layups. Obviously, unless you're Westbrook. It just seems like, and Dort, it just seems like a lot of these guys were just giving up twos for threes, which is the new NBA way of playing. So when it comes to Steve Nash, again, do I think he's going to help them? He's going to help them with their scoring, and they should be in the top 5 in scoring. Should be no reason why they're not.
No, man. Very interesting, man. Very interesting. I think having him come out of nowhere and just become the coach is I didn't hear one thing I didn't hear he had an interview. I didn't hear he had a Zoom meeting with Brooklyn. Like, okay, I can see it. I can dig it, and didn't know he had the aspirations to become a head coach. I know I'm reading some stuff now as time goes along, but listen, man, it's a new day in Brooklyn. It's a new day in the NBA, giving different people a chance to coach. What I've been good with Jacques Vaughn as a coach, sure. That's how the NBA works, man. Just I know some are gonna be out there and saying, how come Nash got the gig without any experience, but a guy like Jacques Vaughn or anybody else who's been in the grind for so long can't become the head coach? I know some are gonna feel that way.
Let me answer that for them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, Denny Blanco here.
That's right.
2-time MVP. Farthest he's ever been to was the Western Conference Finals.
Correct.
Yeah. That trumps everything that Jacques Vaughn has done.
No, I'm just saying as a ball player, yeah.
In reference to head coaching. Even if Jacques Vaughn had 4 years of assistant coaching experience, for example, and they told me you have an opportunity to make Steve Nash your head coach or Jacques Vaughn your head coach, who would you choose? I'm choosing Steve Nash strictly off of the experience of him being a 2-time NBA MVP, as well as going to the Western Conference Final. as well as it's a lot of things added to that, as well as him being a very good teammate. No one's ever said anything negative about him, and he's made players millions and millions of dollars. That's it. Very simple. Very simple.
No, I get it. I know some are gonna be out there and have their say.
Yeah, their
Why
thoughts.
him and yeah.
I
Listen,
get
man.
it.
I don't work for Brooklyn. I don't work for the NBA. It is what it is. We'll see how it goes. Big ups to Nash, and we'll see how it's a new day in Brooklyn, man. I can't wait to see Kyrie and Durant back healthy on the floor with
You
Nash
can't.
as a coach. No,
I'm
yeah,
getting you
because
tickets, bro. I'm bringing you tickets, and you're gonna wear your Knicks stuff, and I'm gonna wear my Brooklyn Nets stuff, and we're gonna take the 4 train all the way to Atlantic, and we're gonna have a good time, baby. I'm gonna bring some popcorn. I'm gonna have some popcorn for you. I'm gonna have some Blue Moon. It's gonna be a great time.
Oh, man. I mean, okay, so what's the better hire, Nash for Brooklyn or Thibodeau for New York?
Better hire.
That makes sense with the talent that is on the
Yeah,
roster.
it makes sense for me. Perfect sense when you have 2 stars with Kevin Durant and Steve Nash. You bring on a former MVP. You bring on a guy who knows the NBA, which is Steve Nash. That's a better fit. Tom Thibodeau remains to be seen if he could even develop young players. We know he can run them to the ground based on the stats of the players with him during when they're playing with him, and then after. Yeah, we know he runs them to the ground, but do we know that he develops them? Can Kevin Knox actually get some more playing time and develop into a good player? I mean,
I think he will. I think he will.
This is 3rd year. My bet is no. My bet is he gets traded, goes to a different team. They develop him. He gathers experience as well as confidence and becomes a better player.
Well, I said it before that that's been their long time problem. Where I mean, now they're trying to address it with getting guys who are great developmental guys. The Knicks will draft somebody 2 years and then they'll trade them or whatever. Because I had Ian on the show last week and I heard about this stat before, but he said that Charlie Ward. Look how far back we're going. Charlie Ward was the last Knick rookie to get a second contract with the Knicks. So all those Channing Frye, David Lees, and so on and so forth got drafted by New York, and then the Knicks never re-upped on them since Charlie Ward. That was what, 97, 98? All the Shumperts and everybody who they drafted. So I mean,
if the Knicks want to do something drastic, you know what they can do, which could help them tremendously. Why don't you put Chris Brinkley on payroll?
Well, he was with New York before. He was. He was.
Keep him there. Like, I don't understand why he's only there. I guess during the Melo time, I imagine. Melo leaves, and then you don't keep. He's in the city. People come to New York City to train with this guy, and you don't have him on your team forever until he's not in New York City. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. Players, whether it's James Harden, whether it's CJ McCullough, little KD, LeBron, go to this gym where Chris Brinkley's running. College players, WNBA players, they go to him because he's a great developer of skills. Why not have him on your staff of the NBA Knicks so you can develop Mitchell Robinson, actually give him a hook shot, actually give him some post moves, actually teach him how to drop step, actually teach him how to set a screen. Like, all these things are right in your backyard, New York Knicks, and you don't do anything. So when the Nets do a move and hire Steve Nash, I'm like, I applaud it. That's great. The Knicks want to do everything except basketball. They want to focus on the marketing. They want to focus on the commercials. They want to focus on the old people. They want to focus everything except the basketball. Everything except it. The product of basketball. Not what's happening outside of it. Just on the court, the product that you're presenting. You're not focused on that at all, which is very confusing to me. That's why I'm a New Jersey Nets fan.
Look at that, New Jersey Nets. Look at that. You said New Jersey. You don't even know. You don't even know what team you're a fan of. That just shows your fugaziness right there.
Fair weather fan. I'm a fraud, B. I'm a fraud.
Fraud.
I'm the biggest fraud ever.
You said New Jersey Nets. You are.
I am Denny Blanco, the biggest of frauds.
Fraud.
Go Brooklyn.
Last point on Nash before I let you go.
Yeah.
So now, again, high expectations. You mentioned the resume of Nash, 2-time MVP, multiple-time All-Star, got to the Western Conference Finals. Just everything that's great about him. Now you put him with Durant and Kyrie. You're healthy. Young guys are there. What's the window of time you feel like, all right, if this is in place, Brooklyn should win an NBA championship within how many years? What's the timeline now?
I'm glad you asked that, Randy Savage. In the event that they are healthy, no injuries.
No injuries.
Starting five of Kyrie, KD, maybe DeAndre Jordan, and everybody else. 3 years.
So you're saying Brooklyn will win a championship within 3 years?
The Brooklyn Nets should be in the Eastern Conference semifinals or finals every year from this year going forward for the next 3 years. And within those 3 years, whether it's semifinals or Eastern Conference finals, in those 3 years, one of those three, they're going to the chip. They're going to the finals and they're going to win a chip. One of those three. Caveat. They have to be healthy.
Healthy. They could make a trade. They could make a signing. I'm saying with the way the roster is now, they don't add nobody else. They keep their roster. Everybody's healthy. You're saying 3 years, Brooklyn should win a championship.
Everybody healthy. 3 years, Brooklyn. There's no reason. So Milwaukee, Toronto,
Boston, Miami.
Milwaukee, Toronto, Miami. Yeah. Kevin Durant by himself. Him and Giannis, two best players in the East. Fair?
I would say yeah.
One or two? Two best players in the East. So those two best players, then you add Kyrie onto Kevin Durant's team. Come on, bro. You got it. You have to be in the semifinals or the Eastern Conference Finals.
The one thing we got to look out for, they can get smart. And they used LeVert as a trade package to get somebody else to have a big three. That'll be crazy. Because when you hear LeVert and there's a rumor, if let's say if Brooklyn wants to get Bradley Beal, someone like that, LeVert would have to be used to at the trade piece. Draft picks as well.
Ooh, give it to him. Now, Sean Marks. Bro, yeah. I like where you're going with this, Randy. See, your thoughts about trades usually work when you're talking about every other team except yours. So thank you. Yes. Bradley Beal to the Nets. Ooh, you have a Kyrie at the 1, Bradley Beal at the 2, Kevin Durant at the 3, DeAndre Jordan at the 5, and then you just put anybody at the 4?
You got Jared Allen, Jordan, Durant, Kyrie, LeVert, Dinwiddie.
No. If you trade LeVert, You keep them off the bench. Keep him coming off the bench. He's a sixth man of the year candidate every single year. Keep him off the bench. Bench power. But Kyrie, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Jordan, and Bradley Beal.
I'm just saying. I don't think they're gonna get him, but
No.
they want to get
I just love the idea. Yeah, LeVert. But listen, LeVert's been looking good. He's young. You never know what package he can bring. So let him develop and see if you can get a better package of more players.
I mean, even
the trade deadline,
even a guy like Oladipo, who the rumor is he wants out of Indiana. He might want to stay. I have no idea. But if you want to get Oladipo to go with Kyrie and Durant, LeVert, I'm saying LeVert is probably the highest trade asset they have. They could keep him because he was developing in the bubble too. So I'm not saying you got to get rid of him. You can keep him.
Yeah, you hold on to the asset all the way up to the trading deadline. You handle get some offers. If they're legit, you make a move. If they're not, don't. So so it's going to be interesting. Like I said before, the offer is there. First tickets on me. New Jersey Nets games, Blue Moon.
It's Brooklyn Nets. It's Brooklyn. No more New Jersey. It is Brooklyn.
New Jersey.
You are a fake fan.
I'm a fair weather fan. I don't.
You're a fair weather fan.
I don't give two craps. But don't give two craps. But Brooklyn, we out on the four line. We out. 2 to the 4. We out
on the 4 line. Listen, man, I'm all for good basketball in New York, Knicks or Brooklyn. I'm a Knicks fan, but if Brooklyn's gonna be in the finals and get a chip, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on that. I'm gonna be happy for New York, anyway. So
you're gonna come with, right?
No, I'm not gonna be a fan. I'm not doing that.
You're gonna come with me to the game, right?
I mean, I'll go to the game, but I'm a Durant fan. I'm a Kyrie fan. I'll support them. You asking me, am I a Brooklyn Nets fan in totality? I'm gonna say no. But
and they're in the semifinals and the finals. I'll just make sure you're sitting right next to me, with your Blue Moon and your popcorn. Don't worry about it. We got it all set. It's situated.
All right. Last one. How much you think Kyrie and Durant are averaging next season points, give or take?
27.
So both over 25 a game.
Right.
Nobody at 30? Nobody at 30 a game? Can Durant average 30
maybe KD?
A game?
Maybe KD because he'll post up more.
Right.
So maybe KD, but in that Eastern Conference JV, right.
Nasty.
Right. Like the dogs, the only people guarding Kevin Durant in the Eastern Conference is Giannis. No, Jerome, listen, there's nobody, and Jimmy Butler has nothing for him. Everybody in the West, name any defensive player in the East.
Mm-hmm.
They have no word. They have nothing for him. So 30 and 27, right?
Denny Blanco, my man, always appreciated. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram. Right there in the bottom, it said, "I am Denny Blanco." You can find me at Randy J. Cruz, RENDY, the letter J CRUZ. You can find the podcast on the Ball is Life Podcast Network on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you want to watch the full version of the show, you can now watch it on the Cruise Control Podcast Network on YouTube. Denny Blanco, my man, always appreciate it.
Till next time, Ball is Life.
Yes, sir. We out.